Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Acclime Amplify Asia podcast, where we unpack the ideas and changes shaping businesses in Greater China and the APAC region. I'm your host, Jacob Ketcher.
So today we're talking with Jochen Zhu-Schleiss, who spent over 21 years in China, building a career across industrial, healthcare, and business leadership. He brings a rare perspective on localization, transformation, and long-term business success in one of the world's most complex markets. Jochen, thanks very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Jacob, for having me today. It's a pleasure.
So you've lived and worked in China for over 21 years, and you've even obtained a Chinese permanent residence.
That's right.
Quite the journey. So what made you want to decide to build your life and career in China?
It's a little bit chaotic because I'm not coming directly to China, to mainland China. I started my career in Hong Kong. Mm-hmm. So I came 2004 to Hong Kong by my own company, where I'm selling used mobile phones to Hong Kong customers and starting my own business with quality control and sourcing, mainly for European companies. Mm-hmm. So and then I moved to Shanghai in end of 2005, and then I've had a long journey, and I feel quite comfortable here.
What kept you here for so long then? What was the?
Now, first of all, you mentioned already my family name Zhu. Zhu is my wife's name, so we are already 16 years married in this year August. Mm-hmm. So mainly the love keeps me here, and for sure is also my career. Because as an electrician and an electric engineer, I would maybe not have the same career path as in Europe, as in Germany. So and I feel quite welcoming here in China. Even I don't speak the language that good case.
I think you are the only foreigner that I've ever met, and I've been in China for a total of nearly 6.5 years. You're the only foreigner I've ever met that has a double-barreled Chinese and Western surname. So how did you come about, and what was the decision behind wanting to include a Chinese character in your own name? And is that a reflection of your legal status as well? Did you also have it legally changed, or is this just what you identify as and call yourself as in like an informal way?
Actually, if COVID was not happen, it's definitely a legal way, because I want to change my passport in Zhu-Schleiss as a family name, what is possible in Germany. But when I do the application form, then COVID hits, and since then I'm not following up this process. But back to your question is, first of all, this Zhu is the respect to my father-in-law and to the family, and on the other side is about the respect to the country. Yeah. And this is also a door opener for a lot of business relationship I'm building up. So when especially Chinese government, they realize my double name, they see, I'm very close to the Chinese culture and to the Chinese nation. So this was one of the reasons. In the same way, my wife used the same combination. She also using Zhu-Schleiss. So in the same way.
That's really nice. So how is it working in Asia? How does it differ from working in Europe in terms of mindset, pace, style of working?
I mean, in general, I have to say, for people who coming to China, working and living in China, they need to understand that here's a different speed. Yeah. So China definitely have a different speed, and you need to think over the how to say is over the edge. So you need to think twice fast, and that definitely out of the box. Mm-hmm. And compared to other places like Indonesia, Malaysia, China is a country who is willing to invest a lot of money and time in a development, and we can see this in the current situation with the automotive market. Yeah. And what I really like is in China, when people fail, they stand up and do it again, and they don't wait for a long time. So this is something what I really enjoy here.
Do you think that that's something which perhaps Western countries used to have and they lost, and then China took its place? Or do you think it's just intrinsic to Chinese culture to have that resilience and that hard work?
Now, when we see back in the 60s and 70s, especially in Germany or in the German-speaking market, with the development of the machinery, automotive industry, I think the passion of developing was in Germany, in Europe as well. I think they lost it. They do too much bureaucracy. They over developing products. And I can give you example that even in some of my previous company, They say, okay, if you want to have some changes, we need to have a very clear time schedule. This takes 6 to 12 months. Here in China, probably it takes
6 to 12 days.
6 to 12 days.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what I really can see. That's why European market also lost leadership, especially in automotive. This is I feel a little bit sorry.
Yeah.
And so this is also one of the reasons why I enjoy the living and working in China.
Yeah. So what did you have to like unlearn when you first started working in China? Were there any habits or mindsets that you recognized quite quickly were very different?
What you need to do is, or what I can advise people to come to China is that you need to keep your eyes open. You not only see the big cities like Shanghai, Beijing, Guangzhou, Shenzhen. So you need to see the west part of China. You need to see the north, the south, and be open with some mindset. Not only, of course, learning the language, but also you need to learn reading between the lines.
Yeah.
So, and for me as a general manager, as a leader of companies, of Western companies, what I do is, and that is what I do differently from mainly Chinese managers, I respect my people. Doesn't matter if it's an IE, what is the cleaner here in China, or even a department manager, I respect everybody in the same level. So this is something what you can get back from the people. So they realize that you're not only the boss, the Laoban, the leader of the company, that you're also a human, that you're respecting everybody in the same level. And that's what people, they keep in their mind. So they learn to be also loyal. Because in China, as you know, you belong enough in China as well. In the past, people jumping about jobs when they're getting a few hundred RMB more. Now they stay in a company because they realize as longer I stay, as more loyal I am, as also a higher position I can get, a higher salary I can get. And that's very important.
It is. I think, especially now, I mean, even though the job market is very tough at the moment because the economy is perhaps slowed down a bit, when the economy does pick up, in a year, in 2 years, then you're going to see a glut of people that want to move. And suddenly then, you know, if you're making those type of long-term investments in respecting your employees and investing into their welfare and their training and their personal development, then you're going to see the returns in staff turnover.
I mean, you pointed the economy also here in China is not as good as in the last years, and even government only announcing 5% or below 5% growth in 2026 and also in the next 5 years plan. But we can see that when people talking to me say, hey, I'm thinking about to change my job. I have an offer from another company, say, if you're smart, stay where you are, because you don't know if the next company is better than this where you are. And if you can have the same chance to grow and develop your position. So better stay where you are and develop your position and your career in this company, be loyal. And the company pays you back, especially when you're working and staying in foreign companies.
100%. So many European and overseas companies, they still have rather outdated or biased perceptions about China's market. What do you think are the biggest misunderstandings that those types of companies make about China?
I would say a lot of European companies have not really the understanding of the speed again about China. So it means if you want to come to China, you need to learn the communication need to be faster, the development need to be faster. If you have ready products who you already sell, for example, through an agent to China, this is definitely a good point to think about it, to come to China, probably produce your products in China for the Chinese market. Forget about to produce products in China for the exporting, because China is already also not a cheap manufacturing country anymore. But in the same way is the quality is already increasing a lot. When I can see 20 years ago and now, the quality of the products increasing double or three times compared to the last decades. So first of all, they need to understand to speed up their own development. Secondly is to come into China, you need to protect your products. So it means you need to register your trademark, you need to register your products, because still China is very smart and still China is a land of copy. So if you're not protecting your own product, it can be happens that they copy that.
For sure.
Of course, you see the latest automotive example, Xiaomi YU7 looks like the Ferrari or even an Aston Martin. It's a combination of both, where even top German automotive influencer talking about, but no one can blame them. Because this is a taste. So and also you need to understand that you need the right people to have here when you decide to come to China, producing the parts here and have your own company instead of owning an agency.
For sure. Yeah.
Also secure your products where you're still operating from Europe to China with export and import license, for example. This is a very important topic. What a lot of companies forget, that they give their import license to some agency and then they realize, oh, we forget something, and they cannot continue importing the products into China.
Yeah, particularly with CCC as well.
Exactly. So this is very important. So you definitely need the right contact here in China. Either, of course, you're going through companies like Acclime or other companies who have the knowledge what to do, which steps to do to secure your products, your manufacturing here in China. Yeah. Or you also need the right people who have the knowledge, the background to doing that if you are, say, we want to do it in a smaller scale. But definitely we need to protect our rights.
Sure.
So definitely important.
Yeah. So let's talk about China Plus One then. So speaking of that, what do you think that China Plus One gets right about risk, and what does it oversimplify about China's role in global manufacturing?
I mean, first of all, China, as I mentioned before, China is not a cheap manufacturing place anymore. This what you need to realize. So, but on the same time, China is a very increasing quality manufacturing.
Well, the range is now very high, isn't it? Before it was had low to mid. Now you can get everything from low to mid to, depending on the industry, like way up the value chain.
Right. So this is something you always need to keep in your mind. And then you really need to think about what is your purpose and what's that target when you make the decision to come to China. So I always, what I say already 20 years, come to China, produce in China for China. Did you see China as a huge market? Don't forget we have, you see, I say already we have, means I feel already like a Chinese. We have 1.4 billion people here who is consumer. And even the economy is not as good as the years before. We have a growing middle class. And people have needs and they have wishes and dreams. So the people are willing to spend money, and even money for more high value products.
Yeah.
So, and still European, especially German products have a very high reputation here in China.
Yeah. So we often hear this term "in China for China," right? But for foreign companies planning to enter or expand their business here, how should they position China in China or their global expansion strategy?
I would say it also depends the product. So if you're going more in the B2C business, of course, then you definitely see China as your main market.
Yeah.
That you produce here, or even you have the import rights that you bring your products from foreign countries into China and selling here over different channels. And don't forget one thing, China is a social media driven countries. And if you not understand to make social media here in China and sales channels via all of the well-known sales channels, then better you not come to China.
Well, China pioneered social, I think they call it social commerce.
Yeah.
Like Douyin shop, TikTok shop, that all started here.
This is something you really need to understand if you're doing B2C, your products, and come with big pockets. Because to build up a brand, this is very important. If you have a brand already in China through your previous exporting to China or importing into China, then you have already a big step. But building up here, we're starting with Tmall and JD and Douyin and WeChat and all of these channels. You need a long breathe and you need big pockets to develop this one. So this is the B2C channel if you're going in this way. And I have experience in one of my previous companies where we do also B2C, and this is also logistic and all of the warehousing and warranty installation. So this is a big things what you need to consider when you come to China and do B2C. And of course, importing products or local manufacturing products. So if you have products locally manufactured B2C, but also is on the list of the Chinese government where you have to make in China, because Chinese government limited also more and more products from the importing to China, because China government want to have a manufacturing site here in China.
Sure.
Very important.
Or if there's a dual use aspect to it, then it can also be the reverse, where the HQ wouldn't want to be exporting something that could potentially be used in a dual use capacity.
Vice versa, yeah. So it is a B2B and B2C. When you have the B2B business, definitely you should have a certain customer range already. So if you're producing in different industry, automotive, in healthcare, in the aerospace, or in food industry, you definitely should have here a knowledge of the market. Then you have to have here the right people. But also don't forget one thing: the sentence of "made in China" is not means automatically rubbish anymore. So you still can come to China, produce in China, and when you see cross-border trading. Yes, you can do that because the quality is nearly, I would say, the same as even in Europe already.
Yeah.
So we see some of the quality products is manufacturing in China. I mean, see all the electronic goods, see the Apple and Xiaomi products and everything.
Yeah.
What even Bosch, Siemens have in Nanjing a big refrigerator manufacturing, all the air conditioned solar industry is manufacturing in China, and the quality is really good already.
It is.
So the B2B business, you need definitely the right decision where you're going with your manufacturing. So if your products are in a bigger size where you have high logistic cost, it's maybe better you placing your location in the east part of China, especially when you go border crossing, use shipping. If your products like ours, what we're currently working for, we have small parts, fasteners, or smaller parts where it's easy to ship. So you can either go to the west part of China where the labor costs are lower. So if you have labor intensive work, you go better in an area where you have a lower labor cost and logistic costs as well.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, given your experience in leading company restructuring, localization, and transformation, like, what are the top 3 challenges that foreign companies face when they localize here?
How to say? You definitely, if you're manufacturing here, you need a long brief. It means you need also the budget. You need a certain amount of money to investing into China, especially when you are producing with a lot of automation. So you need to invest in a good automation infrastructure, machineries, etc. Then if you're not having any customer base, it takes time to build up customers, and you need to understand how the Chinese trading, the Chinese sales is working. So it's not only that you say, okay, I'm coming from Germany or I'm coming from Switzerland, where company I'm coming from at the moment, and the doors are open. So you need to know how the business culture works. You need to know building relationship with your customer. And for this one, definitely you need the right people. You need the right management to understand that building a relationship here in China is the first door opener before you can even bring your business and your products into the Chinese market. You can have the best products. Nobody's waiting for you here anymore. This time is over. You need to build relationship. You need to learn how to dealing with the purchasing team, with the quality team. And
So what comes first then?
Yeah.
So you think that the relationship building comes before the sales?
Definitely the relationship first. Because if you're not having a good relationship with the purchasing, or even building up a relationship with the R&D team from your customer, because the R&D team normally pushing the sales to purchase this product. Because R&D and quality department in the customer side make the decision, this is the right product for you. So in our case, we as Stabio Fastener, we are a Swiss company, we produce in fastener for the automotive industry. And as we know, automotive even a fastener is a very critical part.
Yeah.
I'll give you a good example. We're producing the fastener for the Lamborghini ceramic disc brake. So why is this a critical product? Because this ceramic disc brake go up to 1,400 degrees hot. So if one fastener get broken and you're driving 250 or 300 on the German highway, because it's the only one you can run, is failure, you have definitely a big damage.
Yeah.
Or breaking down to the Chinese EV manufacturer, we're producing aluminium parts, what is helping the battery block, the car battery block housing together. If this is not accurate in the dimension and water can get in, you will know. You see this when cars getting in fire. So this is a lot of things, but the quality department and the R&D department pushing the sales, pushing the purchasing to work with you.
Sure.
So relationship building, number one.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, purchasing and sales.
How much does the relationship with European headquarters matter in helping to localize those business connections and those relationships?
Yeah, when I see in a Korean company, we have 3 weekly calls. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we have calls with different departments. So the communication with the headquarters is definitely very, very important, because our local team need to understand why we're getting so successful in Europe with our quality. So they need to get the knowledge about the understanding of quality and the knowledge transfer. And forget about to say I not want to share my knowledge with the Chinese colleagues about copyrights and all of the things, because this will not happen anymore. If they want to find it out, they will find it out. So, but the communication between headquarters and the Chinese subsidiary is very important. Why is it important to have, for example, a foreign leader in a company, especially someone who speaks the same language as the headquarters?
Yeah.
Very often, and I have seen this in my histories, in my job history, is that even in the R&D team in the headquarters, they don't speak proper English. So you need to talk in the same language, especially when it's going too technically. And the GM or the leader in China have to transfer this information, this knowledge to the local language, or even sharing with the local team. It's very important.
Yeah, especially during COVID, there was a lot of general managers that went back to their home countries and they were replaced by local leadership. But I think I've got some other GM friends of mine in China that tell me that the pendulum has kind of swung back a little bit the other way. It's kind of stabilized a bit now. So
stabilized a bit. Even now, it's getting a little bit better for foreign managers to get in a hiring position. Because one thing definitely I need to say as well, that the loyalty and the trust in a local management is not as good as to the, for example, German or French, Italian, Spanish.
trust and compliance.
Trust is something really what you need to earn, and so there's that. And loyalty as well. As I mentioned once before, is also how people changing jobs. In Europe, especially in German, is very often that we're working our whole life in a company. So this is something what you seldom find here in China. More and more, getting better.
Yeah, no, true. So in your career, you turned around and repositioned several foreign manufacturing companies. What are the key steps that you think that foreign companies should take to compete in what is now a pretty competitive economic environment? You've heard of this term "内卷" or like involution, race to the bottom.
Right. Yes, indeed. I turn around a few companies, and what I find is that a lot of these companies, especially 2 of them, they lost the identity of a European company. So
They localize too much.
One company was also for the automotive industry, is that we have an audit from Mercedes-Benz. So we're producing parts for Mercedes-Benz, and then the quality manager very clear, Mr. Zhu-Schleiss, I'm very happy that you're on board now, because now you're back to your European gene. You're back to a European way. If you're not here, you will not even pass the audit.
Really?
Because it was too much Chinese. No focus on the environment of the workspace.
By the environment of the workspace, do you mean in the office, in the factory?
Okay, let me give you examples. I think it's the best thing to understand.
Yeah.
Every computer have a red bar say, please updating the software because they're using a fake software. Because it's about saving money.
Yeah.
And when someone, and in this case the leader before, want to get something in his own pocket, and I have to say that, they are not investing in such things. Second is the office environment. When people sitting in a dirty and an updated, dated environment, office environment, they're not happy to come to work.
Sure.
My intention, and you can go everywhere where I'm leading, is that people like to come to the office because this is bright, this is friendly. We're using air conditioning in the summer, we're using heating in the winter, so nobody needs to sitting with a winter jacket in the office.
Yeah.
So building up environment, what we understand as Westerners, this is what people like to come to work.
Sure.
And then going into production, when in this case we're having a lot of welding robot system, and when the filter system is not proper maintenance, and the employees there have a risk of health issue. What is the respect that I give to my people? And even as I mentioned before, the simplest worker gain the same respect and deserve the same respect as the management. So that's what I turn around. So I bring this company back to a Western track. So that's why we're passing the audit. Recent company is, the first thing what I did is I changing the working environment. So, and even I'm forcing my salespeople now to change their car to electric vehicles. So what I did is I'm building charging stations in the company. They can charge the car instead of coming with a reimbursement for a very high gasoline cost.
Yeah.
In one of my companies where I'm working for 8 years, I pay the parents the kindergarten for the kids, for a better kindergarten near the company. 2 reasons. First of all, the kids deserve also good education. Yeah. Second is, this kind of employees will never leave the company because they have to explain the kid why they cannot go in this kindergarten anymore. So they stay in the company.
Must have been a very, very nice kindergarten.
Yeah, it was a kindergarten, especially near the company. Yeah. So this is something, small tricks, how you're leading companies, how you're turning around companies. And when your employees are more motivated to come to office, they're also more motivated to bring this picture to the outside.
Productivity goes
exactly.
Up.
Exactly.
I think the drive to localize can sometimes be overly interpreted as a cost-cutting drive.
Yeah.
This is what we hear from a lot of people in the market that are GMs of small to mid-sized manufacturing companies. They say, what is localization to you? And they say, well, it's a drive to cut costs. But taken too far, that is a part of localization. But then if you take it too far, then you start to develop more of that short-term mindset, right?
A good thing is localization about cost reduction. When I, for example, say, okay, I fire some of my people who maybe not working efficient, of course, yes, you can reducing the cost. But what is when what you hope, your productivity going up, your sales going up, you need more people, training these people making mistakes cost you, by end of the day, more money. First of all, firing people in China costs money. You need to compensate them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Secondly is if you're going in let's say in a mid-management, you very seldom find them on a normal way. You need to find this through a headhunter. Mm-hmm. So this costs you more money. So this is maybe not the right way. So cost calculation is and reduction in localization is not only about a cost. Yes, we have to pay attention to the cost. But if you, for example, using higher quality products where you can use it for a long term, instead of buying every year something cheap and replacing, this is not about localization and cost reduction. So there's a lot of things that you can save money, but also you can do a certain localization. But how far? Lose your identity of where you're coming from. Lose your identity that you're a foreign company.
Yeah, no, sure.
I mean, when we talk about pricing, don't come to China if you have similar products on the local market already and think you can beating the Chinese competitor. Forget about it. We do, for example, we don't making standard products. We do customized products. We do products what is very complicated, where we need the know-how and the technology.
Yeah. If you compete in the commodities market in China as a foreign company, it's not going to work.
Forget about it.
Yeah. I mean, the automotive industry is your core background. So how is China's automotive supply chain changing, and what does that mean for European companies?
I mean, we're focusing on purely local automotive industry. We are not producing and exporting our product. So, and in the recent 18 months since I'm leading this company, which we're moving from the Western automotive OEMs or tier ones to the Chinese OEMs. So we are supplying to Li Auto, we're supplying to NIO, we're supplying to Xiaopeng our products, and also now more and more also to the Chinese tier one. So why is this happens? Because the developing getting so fast and the demand getting so high that our local competition, they cannot even developing the products what we do already for a long time so fast. And we're doing a lot of specialized products where a lot of local competition cannot do. And this is our advantage. Sure. So make sure that's what you do it in the right way, where you're not having so much local competition.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you've also worked in the healthcare related industry. So what's the potential of China's rehabilitation, like elderly care, a medical infrastructure? What's the potential for European brands?
Good point, good topic. The healthcare market in China is booming, especially the elderly care segment is booming. But through the one-child policy, we should not forget the financial supporter to the elderly care getting less and less, because now one child have to supporting 2 or 4 grandparents.
Yeah.
So the
worker dependent ratio, I think
the financial resources to support them is a little bit limited.
Yeah.
And when European companies coming to China and want to supply their products here, there's definitely a growing market, because the total numbers of the elderly care customers is booming, but there's a limitation of the financial support. So don't expect that your sales is immediately growing a lot. You need to spend a lot of effort to make a branding, really a brand to introduce to the Chinese market, because mainly Chinese, what they're doing is they're going to Taobao. When we talk about elderly care products, they're going to Taobao and see what is the cheapest product. They're not taking care about what about the quality. And sometimes I even catch myself when I buy their products.
Don't we all?
And then, all of us. But then
problem here.
it comes in my mind, okay, how long this product will keep when I have to throw it away? And then I decide to search for something better and spend maybe 50% more, but I can use it for 5 times longer time.
Yeah.
So yes, we are privileged to have a little bit, maybe more income, that we can spend more money. But on the other side is the bigger volume, the bigger numbers of consumer is the mid or lower income range. So we have to be careful when we're coming with higher products.
So for foreign managers who are new to China, what are the kind of soft skills that are essential to avoid conflict and mismanagement in their China business?
So first of all, I definitely would advise everyone who come to China and want to work in China and leading someone, I advise to speak the language. In the time I came to China, 2004, I don't speak Chinese. I try to learn Chinese. I'm still not really good in Chinese, but my time was different. And in my position is also a little bit different. But for new manager in a middle or in a top management position, a certain level of Chinese is definitely a big advantage.
What do you think it gives? Like more than just, because you can communicate with the language itself, but do you think it's sort of, what do you think it gives to a person's ability to lead the China business?
I would say even you cannot do a business meeting in Chinese, but you can communicate easily with your worker, even on the manufacturing side. Have a little small chat, small talk. Talking to people on the street is definitely helpful, that you feel more welcoming in this country.
Yeah.
But don't believe if you're learning Chinese in your home country, or you're coming to China, learning on a university in a year or two, perfect Chinese, you can do it HSK 6 level, and you can even write and read. Don't believe that you understand China, because
it's the logic.
It's
not just the language.
It's not only the logic. It's also about, if you know the language, you don't know China. In my 21, 22 years nearly years in China, I work in different cities and provinces. I worked in Chongqing, what is in the west part of China, was 3 hours flight. What is 3,000 kilometer, 2,500, 3,000 kilometer away. They speak their own dialect. Even my wife, who is Chinese from Nanjing, she not even sometimes understand their dialect.
Yeah.
So, and don't believe that you speak Mandarin, that you understand the language, and you cannot read between the lines. This is very important.
Yeah.
So this is, but this is definitely something I advise everyone who want to work in China permanent and for longer term, learn the language.
Yeah.
Shame on me, I don't speak it fluent. I don't speak it good enough to leading a team, but I can survive. And that's good. And now with the modern technology, of course, everything getting easier.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how has kind of living in those different cities, how has that shaped your understanding of different teams, of different markets, different consumers? Because as we know, China is not just, I mean, it is one country, but formally it is, but informally it's got so many different like idiosyncrasies and stuff.
So it's interesting when you be a longer term here or a longer time here, that sometimes I ask the question, is China one country or 32 countries? Driving, for example, is a thing. Different province, different rules. Myself, I'm driving motorcycle. In the east provinces, you're not allowed to go to highway. In the west provinces, you're allowed to drive on a highway. So is this the rules everywhere the same, or is this province-wise? So this is one thing. For example, in the west part of China, where Chongqing, for example, food is a totally different thing. Whole Chongqing smelling hot pot, smelling spicy, and the people have sometimes the spices in the voice. So they speak a different dialects, but also they have a different meaning. And people in Guangdong, in Fushan, in Guangzhou, in the south part of China, in the GBA, Greater Bay Area, what is Guangzhou, Shenzhen, Dongguan, nearly Hong Kong. First of all, they're speaking two languages. One is Mandarin, what we talk the rest of China, but the other one is Cantonese. So I remember when we talking in the office, my people knows I understand quite a lot of Mandarin, but if they want to hide something in front of me, they speak Cantonese. And Cantonese is like, I would say, German and Dutch.
Yeah.
You understand a little bit, but mainly no clue what they're talking about. So they are very clever, and the best traders coming from Guangdong. So why is the Canton Fair so famous? Because they are the best traders, and they are very well organized in trade.
What do you think it is about Guangdong that makes them good traders? I'm curious. Is it because it was one of the first cities to open up after the Opium War?
Yes.
So they kind of had that very early exposure, but then trade would have predated the Opium War. So what is it about Guangdong specifically that makes it a good trading place?
From my perspective, I think the Guangdong people, they are very smart. Extremely smart, they're extremely clever, they are good actors. So they are very good in acting. When they want to sell something, they, in Germany we say, Honig ums Maul schmieren, means they put a honey around your mouth. And they are very smart and clever. I like to work with these people, but for me, I'm not really quite happy with, for example, the environment. Guangdong is always hot. There's 10 months summer with a high humidity, and there's only 2 months of, they call it winter, with 20 degrees.
Basically spring.
Where they're wearing a down jacket on 20 degrees, and so this is nothing.
Shanghai is bad enough at like 4 or 5 months of pretty intense.
Yeah, but it's okay, you know. You can, but you have also sometimes we have snow in the past. maybe you not remember that, but 15, 20 years, we have sometimes snow in Shanghai.
I've seen snow 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. So, that's
Not a lot.
a different. And of course, in the north, I remember the time we have an office in Changchun, what is in the north of China, with minus 30 degrees. So this is
Zhengzhou in Henan.
Changchun.
Oh, in Changchun. Oh, yeah.
So Changchun, Shenyang, where VW, Audi, BMW in Shenyang. So we had an office there. So this is also the beauty of China. You have from the north to the south, from the east to the west, different climate zone, different even tropical fruit supply.
Yeah.
And this is something what you need to also understand. And that's one of my other advice to someone who come to China. Not only stay in Shanghai, Guangzhou, Beijing, in a beautiful city where you can go party 24/7, travel.
Yeah.
Travel to the west part of China. China is so beautiful. Go to Hainan in the tropical island at the Hawaii of China. Go to Xi'an, not only for the terracotta barrier, but this is a beautiful place. Drive from Xi'an along the old Silk Road to Dunhuang. 2,000 kilometer history and culture.
The old Silk Road.
Silk Road, yes. Travel in China. China is so good developed. The high-speed train is so cheap. You can go everywhere. You can catch a cheap flight. Travel in China. Learn China. Not
It's
only
safe
a language.
as well. Very,
And
very
of
safe.
course, safe.
Very, very safe.
Safety. You can leave your mobile phone on the table. No one is running by and grab your phone and running away.
Yeah.
So this is something I can advise for everyone who comes to China. Learn a little bit the language. Learn the culture. Travel in China and have an open mindset and forget about everything you hear in the Western media. China is different.
Agreed. I mean, so what does a long-term life and career in China mean to you then? Because it
I mean-
sounds like you've been here for 21 years, right?
Yes.
And so
Yes.
it sounds like this is where you've made your home.
First of all, I call China home. China is my
Yeah.
home.
Same.
Nearly one third of my life, more than one third of my life, I'm in China. As I'm, of course, I'm not start planning my retirement, but as you know, China just recently changed the retirement age from 60 years old for men, 55 for women, to 63 for a man. And as I working on a local contract, my official retirement changing from July next month, where I'm changing 60, to July 2029. But with the not changing from 60 to 63 immediately, so my real retirement age is 60 plus 5 months. So it means my official retirement age is in December this year. But of course, just today I wrote an email to the owner of the company and asked for a letter to confirm that he wants that I continue working in the company, because this is possible. You can extending your labor contract up to 63. This is the maximum of 63 of
So you're
age.
saying it's the convention
Yes.
to usually retire the
Right.
official age.
Yes.
But you can there can be exceptions or
Yes.
workarounds or
Of course, even after 63, you can continue working, but as a consulting contract. You're not under the Chinese labor protection. So this is a different level of cooperating. So back to your question is, I'm long term. I'm planning my future life in China. My wife and I, we're planning to investing in a big RAV, a big camper van. And we want to travel around China for at least 2 to 3 years. China is so big. You fly from the north to the south, you need a 5 hours flight. From the east to the west. China is an
How far to
amazing.
drive from Shanghai to say Xinjiang?
I drove
Roughly.
from Shanghai to Shenzhen. You need around 14, 15 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, I even drove with my electric car. I swapping batteries, and this is a very great infrastructure. You don't have to be worried about charging your car or replacing your battery, because NIO is one of the cars replacing batteries.
Yeah.
So this is nothing. Highway are amazing built. Yes, it's cost highway fee, but on the other side is the highway quality is far away better than in Europe. Just recently, one of the major bridge in Cologne closed down about damages. And there's only 3 bridges who can cross the Rhine River. They're closing one. Now there's a big drama because the bridge is too old
Yeah.
and risk of damage and collapse. So China is a huge country, so we plan at least 2 to 3 years traveling in China before we're driving with our RV to Europe.
That's
So we're
great.
crossing all of these beautiful countries.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I mean, if you could give one principle for foreign leaders building in China today, what would it be? It's a very broad question, I know, but
Mm,
as a wrap up.
it's difficult to answer because is this foreigner coming with a family? Or is this foreigner comes as a...
Give me two scenarios.
Okay.
I guess it's
I can even give you 3, and I have seen this as well. They're coming as a family.
Oh, I know what you're about to
staying
Yeah.
as a single man and fall in love again.
Yep.
So,
It happens.
but of course, let's say a family. If you're coming as a family and working in a, mainly the husband, the man is working in a foreign company. A few words to the wives and to the childrens. Don't expect your husband is coming home 6 o'clock. You have to work hard. There is
Building relationships with
building relationships
suppliers,
with government.
etc. Yeah.
So this is not a 9 to 5 job.
Yeah.
Very often phone calls, video calls with the headquarter. If it's an American family, of course, they have 12 hours time difference very often, so it's not easy. So don't expect you have a 9 to 5 job. On the other side is this job provides you such an easy life with in the past drivers, housemaid, keepers, and everything. So this is definitely an advantage. Expert package, what getting less and less,
Yes.
especially if it's with children's.
International school has changed.
International school is quite expensive. So if you're coming as a family, deal your package before you make a decision to come to China. So you definitely need to secure your package, not only for a 2 years contract, also for a possibly extension. So this is one of my advice for a family. If you're coming as a young single man or even woman, get ready to fall in love, especially in men's, because Chinese woman is beautiful. And but expecting also a different culture. Sometimes it's not easy, especially if you come from Europe, dealing with different culture. Language barrier. So none of us, you speak, is your native English, is your mother language, is maybe for you a little bit easier, but also for maybe your Chinese partner can be maybe a challenge. So misunderstanding of words, what are you using, is get ready for that. Even I would say my English is okay. My wife's English is even better because she studied in Australia. She worked for Australian government, always for American. And we're still having arguments about the wrong wording or misunderstanding of the language.
Yeah.
So get ready for this one.
Flexibility then.
Be
You
flexible.
have to be flexible and open-minded.
Don't be so stubborn. And but get ready for fall in love with the country and with the people. If you're a woman or a man, doesn't matter. So that's my advice.
Thank you.
And be open for a beautiful, beautiful country.
Jochen, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a really, really great talk.
It's my pleasure.
Really, really, really appreciate
Good.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you to our listeners for listening into our Amplify Asia podcast. This podcast is produced by Acclime, your trusted partner for corporate services across APAC. If you'd like to learn more or explore detailed information, visit us at china.acclime.com. And if you need personalized support, don't hesitate to reach out. Stay tuned for more insights and updates, and see you in the next episode.